Dr. Goldhammer says some people shouldn't fast. It's true, some people shouldn't fast. Pregnant women shouldn't fast. Women who are breastfeeding shouldn't fast. Anybody who is completely emaciated can't fast. But we fast people who are underweight all the time. I mean, I honestly, I can only imagine. I mean, Alan Goldhammer also says that it's impossible to live on a raw food diet, even though 25 million other species seem to be doing perfectly fine. Somehow humans are the one that has to eat cooked food. He says that people with liver disease shouldn't fast, and we've fasted people with liver disease with good success many times. Same with kidney problems. I mean, you can fast with kidney problems, just have to be more careful. Obviously, if the kidneys are limited in their capacity, then you can't necessarily. We had a guy who had 20% kidney function. So if the average person's body can handle a liter an hour, he can handle 200 milliliters an hour, right? He had to be really cautious about how much water he drank, and he did that and was fine. We've had good success, and we're much more liberal because I believe that fasting is nature's way of allowing the organism to heal itself, and why would it not work? Where is their system a situation where, I mean, the reason that pregnant and breastfeeding women shouldn't be fasting is because fasting will affect their fetus or baby if they're breastfeeding. As their body detoxifies, it will affect breast milk. And so to the young women here, if you're planning on having children, what you want to do is get and keep your body clean before you get pregnant. That's a lot better. Because once you're pregnant, it's really too late. Now you're going to affect the fetus. Okay? But yeah, I know of very few people that don't benefit from fasting. How about children? Can children safely do extended fasts? Yeah, pretty much. I mean, my youngest client was 2.5 years old, and I'll tell you the story. And I'll tell you that I wouldn't normally fast 2.5-year-olds, but not because it's potentially dangerous, but because I want to fast people who can reliably tell me what's going on for them. And I'm not sure if I could trust a 2.5-year-old to tell me what they were feeling, what they were experiencing, what was happening. In this case, I fasted a 2.5-year-old who didn't speak English. And I don't speak any Dutch. But his parents were there, and his parents were some of my closest friends in the world, like family. And some of the only, when they said to me, "We'll take full responsibility," I knew I could trust that. A lot of people say, "I'll take full responsibility," and then if something happens, they're like, "Oh, screw that! I'm suing your ass off," right? And when these people said, "We'll take full responsibility," I knew that meant, like, their word is it. That's what they say. That's what happens. I knew I could trust that. So their son was born with a heart defect. And by the time he was 2.5 years old, he'd already had open heart surgery twice. All of his valves leaked, and he was on a diuretic to remove excess fluid from his system because of leaking valves. And he had to take this drug 4 times a day. He never slept well after the evening medication. He was one of those kids that if they were in the car at night and the car was moving, he would fall asleep. And his mother told me that we were together in Venezuela 16 or 17 years ago. And his mother told me that when they were out, he'd fall asleep. They'd carry him inside asleep and put him to bed without waking him up to take the drug. He always slept better. And I said to her, when there's an opportunity, we might want to try fasting him. Well, 2 months later, they get off a plane to come visit me, and he's sick. He's got sore throat, runny nose, high fever. Fasting is the thing to do. And so I said to them, this is a perfect opportunity. And they agreed. So Flynn fasted for 5 days. He only weighed 30 pounds. Most of you weigh 4 to 5 times that much or more. So 5 days was pretty short. And honestly, he could have gone longer. His parents were kind of at their limit, right? They were a little nervous about going any longer. So he broke his fast. And he was off of the medication for the first time for 4 months. His body was able to keep up with its own needs for 4 months. Eventually, he had to go back onto it. But it worked really, really well for him, and first time off medication. So it was a powerful thing. We had a 30-something woman here from Eastern Europe last spring, I guess, and her 9-year-old mom went 26 days, and the 9-year-old did 21, and she put everybody else to shame. I mean, she made it look easy. I mean, she was kind of a little challenging the first week or so, but then when she got into it, just relaxed and surrendered to it, it was no problem. So yeah, I mean, we've actually fasted, probably 2 or 3 dozen children, ranging from 3 to, I guess 14 is no longer a child, an adolescent, but ranging from 3 on up. And they've all done well. One of my favorite lines when I'm speaking, these pieces I use over and over again. Nothing scripted, but they're pieces I use. When I'm talking about fasting, I'll say, I want you to understand, this won't necessarily work for anyone, what I'm saying here. If you're sitting here tonight and you're already dead, this isn't going to help you, okay? If you're alive, your body can cleanse and heal to some degree because it is always doing that. Fasting just allows that to happen more efficiently and more effectively. And so there's no reason that elderly people can't fast. The biggest challenge in some cases is that the older we get, the harder and more intransigent the old material tends to be. So it can be more difficult to move that stuff out. But we've seen amazing results in various cases. And we had a gentleman who, I'll tell you another story. There was a gentleman who was scheduled to have he had a tumor in his larynx, in the throat. And it had grown to the extent that it was blocking the airway. And so it was hard for him to breathe or speak or swallow. And they wanted to do an emergency tracheotomy where they punch a hole here. And then you'd speak through a little device. And he wasn't really excited about this, right? That wasn't something he was looking forward to. And a friend of his who had heard me speak in Manhattan at a restaurant that no longer exists, said, why don't you contact this guy? And so he called me and asked me, can this help? And I said, well, we've worked with a lot of people with cancer. We've seen tumors shrink and disappear in many cases. Every case is different. I've never seen this particular situation, but unless it's growing so fast that waiting 6 weeks is going to put you in serious danger, it can only help you, right? I mean, there are studies that show, I think I may have mentioned this, but for instance, in one study, they took rats, they induced cancer, and they gave the rats chemotherapy, but they divided them into 2 groups. And one group was fasted before getting chemotherapy. All the fasted rats survived. All the rats that didn't fast first died as a result of chemotherapy, okay? And so, I said to him, it's only going to make you healthier, and if you, even if it doesn't eliminate the cancer, you'll do better if you have to go through conventional treatment. And so he agreed to come. He fasted for 30 days. He completed the process with no problem. He went home where his son was waiting to rush him to the hospital. They had the surgeon on standby. His son was a famous movie director, and they rushed him to the hospital in New York where the surgeon was waiting. They roll him into the OR, and they can't find a tumor. It's gone, disappeared, okay? And Stanley, the gentleman I'm talking about, turned 91 while fasting with us for 30 days. Okay, so if your body is still alive, it's still healing and cleansing. It has to, on an ongoing basis. Okay, it may not be as efficient as someone in their 20s, but it can still improve. and fasting is the most efficient and effective way to allow that to happen.
Hi, enjoying my videos? If you'd like to learn much more, check out the Academy for Vibrant Living, where our Vibrant Health course will teach you everything you need to know to take your health to an amazing new level. And if you'd like to turn your passion for health into a lucrative career, check out the Health Coaching course, where you can become a professional certified health coach and help as many people as possible see amazing results.